Hi everyone, how are you all? As you can see, I am back home and it feels really good to be in my usual setup. It actually got me super excited to film this video for you guys. And on top of that, we're talking about some new products, which is always very exciting. I feel like there's actually been like a little bit of drama with the products that I'm talking about since I received them, but we're not gonna really focus on that. We're just gonna focus on the products because I've been really curious about this brand for a while now. It's carried at Credo, and that is Jones Road Beauty. Credo was kind enough to send me a little collection of their products so that we can try out. I'm going to use almost all of them today. I'm going to save one for a different video so you guys can kind of look forward to that. I also have multiple beverages next to me, so if you see me drinking from different mugs throughout this, that's because I have my coffee mug, I have my water mug. I honestly don't know why I have any other glassware. Like, all I need are mugs because I just don't drink out of anything else. Anyway, we are talking about Jones Road Beauty today. I've been curious about the brand for a while, and then I saw Kackie from Kackie Reviews Beauty, her review on their new foundation, and I was like, all right, it's time to dive in. I need to try it. It's a very like minimal, your skin but better makeup line and very finger friendly, which works for me because that is how I apply pretty much all of my makeup, and I'm always looking for kind of that minimal coverage, something that just makes me feel like myself but maybe a little bit elevated. And when I saw that they had a foundation come out, I was very curious and I thought I would hold off, and then I watched Kackie's review and I was like, okay, I need to try this out for myself. I have it in the shade Porcelain. A lot of the colors of the other products were inspired by Kackie as well. Like, I believe she used this Tawny Nude. Am I making that up? I don't know. You guys have to go watch her review, but I think she had the Tawny Nude lip and cheek stick too. I have one of their eyeshadows that we'll play around with, a concealer, pencil. I do have their Miracle Balm, but this is the product that I think I'm gonna wait on, only because from what I've seen, if you have slightly oily skin, or since it is a little bit warmer out right now, I've heard that this might be too much. Like, it can make your face look a little bit too slippery. So we're gonna wait on this and just focus on the foundation. I know that this is going to be a very light coverage foundation, which is totally fine for me, but what I did do to kind of prep my skin for a more light coverage foundation is I exfoliated using my Emma Lewis Ham illuminating cleanser, I believe it's called. It's not their oil cleanser, it's the actual exfoliating one, which I love. And so my skin was nice and smooth. I got off kind of that like first rough layer of dry skin since I have not been taking care of my skin very well. And then I moisturized a while ago. So everything is totally sunken in. I do have combo skin where I'm kind of like dry in places and oily in other places, so that's always fun. But I've heard if you are on the drier side that this foundation is really nice. So let's open it up. I have it in the shade Porcelain, which is the lightest shade. First impression, do you guys remember when Maybelline came out with those mousse foundations? That's what I thought of when I opened this up. You can buy a spatula, which is very cute, but I just am using like a skincare one that I've cleaned. I'm just gonna scoop off a little bit of it and stick it on the back of my hand. This is kind of like a first impressions video. This is a bit warmer and kind of peachier of a shade than my actual skin tone, so we'll see how the color matches, and this might be even too much product, so we'll just apply it kind of sparingly with fingers and build it up from there. Bobbi Brown, as a makeup artist, was always known for her complexion, so I think her complexion products really intrigue me. So I'm just kind of starting at the center of my face and blending out. I'm applying a really thin layer, and although it's not drying down, I can feel it starting to kind of grab hold of my skin, and it's literally like a moisturizer. It's so easy to apply and rub in. So I'm kind of swiping and then tapping because I don't want to remove all the coverage, but I do want to sheer it out. I actually think the color match is fine. If it was a full coverage foundation, it probably would be a little too pink for me, but because it's such a sheer amount of coverage, I think it's just fine. So again, kind of swiping it on and then tapping to blend out. I love finger-friendly foundations. I just feel like they're so easy, and for real life, I don't know, like I can't be bothered with brushes every day, so having an alternative if you don't want to use a brush, if you don't want to use a sponge, is really great. Just kind of tapping some more on in areas where it might be a little bit sheer or I need a bit more coverage. There's a real glow to this for sure. So if you're not into kind of like a dewy finish, probably is not for you. So I think the trick is to work in really thin layers with this because I can feel it kind of grabbing and drying down. What's interesting is I've heard the concealer pencil, I mean, we'll try it out, but I've heard that This is described as a little bit drier. So great compliment to something like that where you have kind of a more dewy, very fresh skin-like finish for your overall complexion product. And then in the areas that you need real concealing, you have something that's really gonna stay put and doesn't add any extra kind of shine or dimension to that area of your face. Okay, so obviously have not worn this all day, but I just wanna put this out there. This is definitely my type of complexion product, which I knew based on what Kackie had said. It's really minimal. Doesn't look like you're wearing anything really, but it does a good job just kind of evening out your skin tone. Again, disclaimer, have not worn it all day, so we'll see, but so far so good. So obviously we still have a little bit of concealing work to do. I'm gonna probably target like these darker areas around my nose, a little under my eye, any sort of spots. I have some pigmentation over on this cheek that I'll cover up. It doesn't feel like it's dried down completely. I'm kind of wondering if it even will, or if this is kind of how dry it will get. I can definitely see I'm gonna need a little bit of powder in areas that I don't want to be too shiny, so kind of like the sides of my nose here, maybe a tiny bit on my forehead and a little on my chin. That is a very skin-like foundation, which I am very happy with. Let's add a little concealer. This is the Face Pencil in shade 1. I'm just gonna go in and draw right on top. And there definitely is a stiffness to this. So I'm gonna be careful not to really disrupt the foundation. In the corners of my eye, a little underneath. This area of pigmentation, drawing up my face. A little bit around my mouth where I'm a bit darker. So I'm just really gently blending it in. I think it's blending pretty well over the top of it. It is a much stiffer formula, so I'm trying to be careful not to disrupt what's underneath. I would imagine if you tried to blend this in with a brush, it would be a little challenging because I feel like the warmth of my fingers is helping it blend in. But if I had a brush, I worry that it would move the product below it. A tiny bit right here and here. I remember growing up, my mom always used Bobbi Brown products. I think that they were just easy to use. They were good for people who wanted that sort of like natural, everyday kind of makeup. In fact, I remember for my sister's 16th birthday, she got her makeup done at the Bobbi Brown counter, and that was like a huge deal. And I feel like Jones Road Beauty is really in line with that kind of original aesthetic of Bobbi Brown cosmetics. I have my bangs clipped back today. I think I'm gonna grow them out. So if you guys have any good clip suggestions, let me know. Okay, so that's base done. So definitely light coverage. A spot right here. Let's try and cover that up. I'll let that sit for a second. And you know, I can still see freckles on the areas where I didn't put concealer and really see my natural skin through it, but I do feel like it just kind of evened out my skin tone and gave me a really pretty glow to my skin. I do think I'm gonna need a powder with it though, like I was saying. I'm gonna try really hard not to like get this all over myself. You need a very small amount of this foundation. I don't think you need to like really layer it on, which I know is a little bit of what the controversy with this is about, but yeah, it's definitely a foundation that will last you a long time because you don't need a ton. I'm just gonna quickly do my brows, which is just a little bit of EcoBrow brow gel. So nice to have a big mirror bag. I will say you can definitely film with your phone, so anyone trying to start a YouTube channel, use your phone and the quality is pretty incredible, but having a nice tripod and a big mirror in front of you makes all the difference. Apply a tiny bit more concealer here because I feel like either it's not enough coverage or I may have lifted it a bit. I'm gonna try and press even lighter. I think that's a bit better. Let's apply a little of this eyeshadow. I have the best eyeshadow in the shade Copper, which I thought would be really pretty. I think the packaging is really aesthetically pleasing. This, for instance, is plastic. However, it feels like kind of weighty and substantial. It does come with a little mirror in it, which is helpful. And it's a magnified mirror, which is kind of nice. Real metallic shade. Pretty, very pretty. Definitely a little bit more gold tone to me than copper. Still very pretty. Easy to lay down. I always lift my eyebrow when I'm applying shadow, and I'm trying really hard not to so that I can actually see where my normal crease is and blend from there. Since this is such a shimmery color and I have such a kind of like dewy base on, fallout if you have too much product on your brush is normal. So what I did to prevent that is I just kind of took some of the shadow on my brush and then I really worked it into the brush on the back of my hand, and that way when I go into my eye there's not as much excess product that can fall off, and I can really just kind of pack it on and then focus on, you know, really softly blending it. I haven't worn a metallic shade on my eye in a long time. I'm gonna fast forward so you guys don't have to watch me blending for like 20 minutes. Just because I'm feeling extra, I'm taking a clean brush and just going over the outer edge, really blend it out. Be curious to try using this shadow with a tiny bit of water. I think it would make a really pretty liner color, and sometimes depending on formula, you can kind of play around with pigment and increasing it by adding a little bit of water. Applying a little bit of mascara. I don't have the Jones Road mascara, but I do carry one. I'm gonna go wipe the excess of this off the back of my hand, and then we'll do some blush. I also want to go see the foundation in a different light. I'm curious to see if it has kind of oxidized at all and leaned a little closer to the kind of like pinky tone that it feels like on the back of my hand. I'll be right back. So I just wanted to go look at it in different light. I went into my bathroom, wanted to see how it kind of looks in natural light, which I have right now, and then also with like the lights on. And I will say with the lights on, it is quite shiny. So I think even though I tend to lean on the more like dehydrated dry side, I think I will still need a powder with this, which makes me wonder how it will work for oily skin types, if it would work. I do think that this pencil would work great for oily skin types. I was saying when this first came out, people were kind of critical of how stiff it was, but I think if their intent was to pair it with this foundation launch, it makes a lot more sense because you wouldn't want something super creamy over such a dewy foundation. It just wouldn't work, at least in my opinion. I am going to apply some of this lip and cheek stick. I have it in the color Tawny Nude, which I thought would be a really beautiful addition to the makeup that I already have just because it's such a unique color. Again, I'm pressing really lightly because I still feel the foundation, because it's a dewier finish, it's not really like ever totally set. So I don't want to remove any of that coverage. Do you guys ever find that like putting makeup on one side of your face is so much easier than the other? For me, it's this side. I just like automatically know where to place everything. Meanwhile, on the other side, it feels like so much less natural. I think in summer, we look at these deep tones as such a winter fall color, but in summer, it's really nice because it almost acts like a bronzer and a blush because it just brings this healthy, flushed blood flow to your face that you would get after spending some time out in the sun. Okay, I'm gonna actually apply this to my lips as well, which I think will be a very pretty color. Very balmy, kind of like a pretty berry tone. All right, powder. I'm using the ILIA Fade Into You finishing powder. Do they even make this anymore? I don't know. And a big fluffy brush. It's a translucent powder, but you guys will see how much it just helps kind of bring down the shine. I'm super lightly dusting it. And if I wanted to do kind of a more targeted approach, I would use a smaller, denser brush. But because this is a dewier foundation and my skin is looking a little shiny for my liking, this is kind of more of an all over dusting. All right, next phase is to wear it all day and let you guys know what I think. I will keep you posted. I will have an update down in the comments about how this kind of lasted, how it wore all day. It's extremely skin light. If you're looking for just like a light coverage complexion product that you can kind of slap on like a moisturizer that provides minimal coverage but definitely helps to even out your skin tone, I can see this really being a nice option. I think my advice is to work in really thin layers with it. You guys saw I was kind of swiping it on, like rubbing it in almost like a moisturizer and then tapping it so that the coverage kind of stays put. I would not recommend having any really oily base beneath this. I put on moisturizer a half hour before I applied this, so it was completely absorbed into my skin. I will be trying this out with sunscreen underneath too to see how that affects it. I use mineral sunscreens and sometimes they can be quite zinky, which in my experience helps to grab makeup that's a little bit more oily. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of goes with that. I do like it paired with this concealer stick, again, because of the textures. I just feel like they go really well together. I will be trying the Miracle Balm at some point. I love the idea of a product like this where you just put it on and it helps to make your complexion look like a little bit healthier, a little bit glowier. I look for products like this all the time. So curious to try this. We'll have to break the seal, which will be both satisfying and a little distressing. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm hoping that content will be a lot more regular and easier to put together now that I'm back home. So let me know all of your questions down below in the comments. Happy to answer any of them. And yeah, I'll just keep using these and keep you guys updated with my thoughts. And a big thank you to Kackie for doing such a good review, totally convincing me that that I needed to get these. Products that I mentioned are all linked down below. As I mentioned, I hope you're all doing really well and you have a wonderful rest of your day or night or whenever you're watching this. Oh, and if you're not subscribed and you liked this, please subscribe. That means so much to me and really helps out my channel. And if you're already subscribed, then a huge thank you. Let me know some video suggestions down in the comments. Always curious to know what you guys are interested in, what you want to see, and I will talk to you all very soon. Okay, that's really it. So officially goodbye and thank you again for watching.